Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, and good morning here on another Saturday morning to Gaarawarr's Guide to the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Shout out to everybody for being super patient this morning. Sometimes your internet service provider doesn't care that you have a show to put on, and that you'd like to do it on time. Yeah. So, but we're here now. And hopefully we're here for the full 2 hours. We will do the full 2-hour show. So here's, for those of you who haven't been to a Saturday show before. On the Saturday show, I talk about a topic for an hour. I don't necessarily look at the chat. I don't answer any questions for that hour. I'm just focused in on explaining that kind of stuff. Tutorial style. And then in the second hour, we do questions. So, we do have, the wonderful Jay, over here, who has been on the C&E Games account. They are pulling questions, so even if people are asking questions, we'll try to hold on to them. But, try to make them on topic, so that we can, that we can answer your questions about this topic. Today we are covering, the Heroes of Baldur's Gate, as I look up and make sure. Yes, that's what it says over here. The Heroes of Baldur's Gate. But I mean, before we even start, the real hero of Baldur's Gate. I mean, come on, Boo is the real star. Clearly. Okay. So let us. Well, I'm gonna need to remove some things here and sneeze. Oh, no. False symptoms. You know what? Let us start. We are going to start from scratch. So, the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Sometimes there's some confusion about this, and I want to be real clear. The Heroes of Baldur's Gate are specific. That title is specifically in reference to if I remember correctly, the comics, the current comics, the modern comics out by Jim Zub. So there will be some people that you know, like Minsk and Boo. If you're a big fan of like the Baldur's Gate games, I'm sorry. Apparently, someone cast mass invisibility on my party. They will be back. I promise. But you can go here and you can see the heroes of Baldur's Gate: Delanar, Krynal, Minsk, Neris, and Shandy. So we have a full 5. Well, not full, but we have a 5-person party. I mean, I figure that's a pretty full adventuring party. But this is them. This is the they. This is the party. We like to party. Rock the party. This is who we're going to be talking about. 6 if you count Boo. But, I figure, like, Boo is really the stats behind the character here. And Minsk is just along for the ride. So we're going to talk about all of these. Now, one thing you might notice, real quick here, with these 5. Like, here we have a DPS support. Here we have a DPS. Here we have a support. Here we have a DPS support. Here we have a healing support. What don't we have? We don't have a tank. So you can't just run only the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. You would mix, if you wanted to run all of them, you would mix them into a group, obviously, with some other people. That's how all of the current group affiliations work. There's usually a handful. I was going to say from 3 to, like 6 or something, but we do currently have Shaka, who has an affiliation tag, and he's the only one. But there will be more. There will be more for his specific affiliation eventually. We will get there. With this group, keep in mind that you're going to want to build around them so that you can maximize the group usage. So we're going to start off with the most recent champion the one that's been that is in an event currently, Krydal. So a lot of new players have gotten Krydal recently. You may not have the rest. You will have Delanar and you will have Minsk because they come core with the game, but you may not have Shandy or Neris. So we'll talk about those. So we did cover this. We did cover Krydal in my Gaarawarr's Guide to the Running. So this is going to be just a rehash. But for those of you who didn't watch that video, if you're watching this as a VOD or you're watching it live, here we go again. Krydal, specifically DPS support. He's a half-elf rogue. He likes to stabby things. Reverse pickpocket. He attacks a random enemy with his daggers. He also sneaks a smoke powder bomb onto their person, which explodes after 3 seconds. Just because. Why not, right? Why not? From the shadows, increase the damage of all champions in the back 2 columns of the formation. This effect is doubled on the heroes of Baldur's Gate, including Krydal himself. I'm going to tell you right now, Krydal probably better as a support. So try to have him buff somebody else. And because he can double this on Heroes of Baldur's Gate, that means he's probably buffing either Delanar or Minsk, right? They're your other DPS options. Charismatic Leader. Here's the thing about Krydal. He's very picky. That's why people are like, maybe he's not in the greatest place. He's very picky about who he's buffing and who's buffing him. So with his Charismatic Leader, he provides buffs based on the charisma scores of other champions in the formation, which means you have to pay attention to charisma scores when you're building this out. And decide, like, is it worth me putting in someone that's going to match that charisma score? Or do I just put in someone who's going to give an even bigger buff than what I'm going to be missing by not having that charisma score? So this one, it's nice if it's there, but sometimes it's not going to work that great. So for Lead with Flare, Krydal's damage is increased by 100% for each champion in the formation with a charisma score of 12 to 16. So when he's a DPS, he really needs those people. Like, he kind of wants those people to be in between 12 and 16. If they're not, though, because it's only increased by 100%, it's not a huge deal if you're just choosing your biggest buffer. However, as a support, you have to have, for wild cards, you have to have, because he increases the damage of champions with charisma score of 11 and lower or 17 and higher. So if you're using him as support, they have to come into that. So 11 or lower or 17 and higher. So over here we look, charisma, 17. So she qualifies. Minsk, Charisma 10. It's almost like they designed Kreidel to buff the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. So whether you're using Minsk or Delina with Kreidel, both of them qualify here. But keep in mind, if you're using Kreidel to buff someone else, they have to fall in those regions, in those extremities. Thieves can't, or can they? Thieves can't increase the effect of Charismatic Leader by 100% for each rogue in the formation. Again, this stacks multiplicatively, and it's post-stack, though, which is, we prefer, like, pre-stack. But usually, if I remember correctly, again, this is something that's nice to have, but don't necessarily go hunting for it. Like, whenever it's, 100%, these are bonuses. These are nice little bonuses, and not necessarily absolutely must-haves. We had some, conversations yesterday on Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything Untitled Champions about not always, like, just because an ability says it wants something, that doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Like, just because Shaka puts down a certain type, like a person or a name or a gender in a slot, doesn't mean you have to put that in there. It's just he would like it if you did, and it helps. But you don't do that if it's going to make your formation worse, right? Like, sometimes, like, if it's in the tank slot and they want a DPS there, well, I mean, you could do that with Archon, but even that's probably not worth it. Just, take the bonuses you can and look for the big bonuses to build around. And the big bonus here is from the shadows for Kreidel. It's not necessarily, and it's Charismatic Leader if he's a support. But Thieves can't. It's nice if you have extra roads. If you don't, you can live without it. You can live without it. His specialization choices are based on the same things. He's either buffing lead with flare or he's buffing wild cards. So he's either being the DPS, close-up magic, or he's buffing everybody else, training camp. We're going to use him as a buffer here because we have the rest of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. And we want to take advantage of the rest of them in the formation. So we will level him up and throw a familiar down. And I can't remember. I don't think he has anything else after that. Yeah, that's the specialization. Then it's just, lots of upgrades. You can see the totals over here. So current stacks for things, if it applies. Thieves can't current stacks, which apply. So you can see in your formation buffs tab how much you're getting out of this and what kind of bonuses you're working with if you want to focus around that. But keep that in mind. Because he is a DPS support, in both his gear and his feats, you're going to see a combination of DPS and support stuff. So he has his self-damage item. He has a damage all champs item, which is what we usually see on the supports. He buffs his abilities from the Shadows and Charismatic Leader, each with an item. But then he goes into his ultimates. At the bottom, this is the more standard layout of having, ultimate damage, ultimate cooldown, and then 2 support items, and then, and then potentially either another support or self DPS. He has the self DPS feats and the support feats as well. So damage all champions, and then once you start getting into the rarer stuff, you see he can buff his abilities, or he can just go straight up more damage for even more. I think I don't think I have the right. Yeah, we want a different feat in here. We actually want, now that I have it, we want Harrowing History instead of that. There we go. That's going to be a better. Oh, and then actually we wanted to swap out, because we're using him support, we want double support feats. So these are double support feats. I would only use this if he was self DPS. Kreidel's ultimate, Distracted Strike. He appears from the shadows behind a random enemy and brutally backstabs it for massive damage. It's going to be difficult to show here because everything is dying immediately, but we will attempt it. It's just basically a huge punch in the back here. Yeah, that was it. It was that quick. He just kind of disappeared and nailed it from the edges. The damage of this attack, do note, the damage of this attack is increased by 200% for each hero of Baldur's Gate in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. That's a nice bonus. That's a nice bonus. But again, you know, if it's there, it's there. If not, then, you know, it's not the biggest loss in the world. Let's see. There we go. All right. Up next in the list, so that Cridle comes in at slot 2. Shandy is going to come in right over here, slot 6. Slot 6 is a pretty competitive slot, buffer-wise, but usually, I mean, if you have lots of options here, then Shandy tends to get used as a speedster, because Shandy is what is known colloquially in the community as a speed champion. Now, it's not a role; it's not officially labeled role from Idle Champions, but it is a thing. Speed champions have effects that speed up your progress through the game, and we'll go over hers. So Shandy's a halfling rogue, so that helps to support Cridle. Ranged attack, as you can tell right here. Ranged attacks look like an arrow. Melee attacks look like a sword. And magic attacks look like that right there. Ranged attack, Shandy fires an arrow at a random enemy. So just one shot. Again, she's support, so that's fine. We've already unlocked her ultimate, so we'll go over that. Survivalist, Shandy throws smoke grenades out. And caltrops. Enemies take the ultimate's full damage over 10 seconds and have a 50% chance to miss their attacks during this time. So not only is it a damagey thing, but even when you're not using it for damage, it has a defensive effect. And this is what it looks like. The whole place gets little smoke powder bombs and caltrops over the field. Of course, yeah, they're there. They're still persisting. A little harder to see on this map, but you can kind of see the little caltrops and little smoke bombs. So, Shandy's kit starts right off with Agile Allies. Again, this is kind of one of those where it's nice to build it up, but your formation isn't always going to allow you to do this, so keep it in mind. Increase the damage of champions within 2 slots of Shandy by 100% for each champion adjacent to her with a dex of 15 or higher. So there's a lot going on there. So she's going to buff within 2 slots. And those slots have to be 2 adjacent slots. So as you can see here, the arrows are going to point out everything that she's buffing currently. And she buffs based off the number of dex. Is it 15? Yeah, 15 or higher champions. I always keep thinking 16 that are around her. So do we have that? We've got Dex 17, Dex 16, and Dex 13. So not so much from them, but does Minsk? No. So we wouldn't get any from Minsk or Nearest. So you'd want to, potentially move other people away and then fill in these 2 slots with, Dex if it makes sense for your formation. If not, then that's fine. You at least grab what you can. Shady's Dash. This is her speed effect. So increase the game speed by 25% when the formation hasn't been under attack for 60 seconds. So you have to not have been under attack for 60 seconds at all. If you run into a ranged level and you don't kill things instantly, they're going to fire off an arrow. You will have been under attack, and that speed function is going to drop. So this is best used when you're killing things instantly with click damage. It's going to speed you up to what I refer to as your click wall, so that point where you're not click killing things instantly. So this speeds up your early level progress, which, as you get further and further into the game, it's going to be a larger and larger portion of levels. And it is by 25%. This functions like a speed potion, so it speeds up everything about the game. So it's just an overall speed modifier. It does count into the potion multiplier, so you can only speed up via potions, and this includes Shandy, to a 10x multiplier. So the nice thing about this is when you max out Shandy's speed, you only have to use like a purple and a blue speed potion to get to like 9.281x speed, which is close enough, instead of using 3 speed potions. So that can save you on some speed potions if you don't want to burn through the smaller ones. And then she has a she's going to have a... We'll talk about our specializations, but she can actually make this go even faster here in a moment. Explosive arrow. This is the one that I build more around. So I try to make sure that I don't focus as hard on my formations on agile allies. I'll take it if I can get it. But I build it more around explosive arrows. So Shandy fires explosive arrows when the formation is under attack. For each enemy hit, Shandy increases the damage of the column in front of her by a number. So in this situation, what we really want is this. We want Shandy all the way in the back. Mad Wizard isn't necessarily the greatest formation for the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Imagine that. You'd probably want to go to Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus, which we probably should have done. Good job, Gaarawarr. But yeah, you would want Shandy all the way in the back so that she can buff whoever's going to be the DPS in the front. So, if we put Delana here and we put Kreidel here, she's buffing both. Whoever ends up beating the other for top DPS is going to get the buffs. But both Delana and Kreidel are getting some buffage. Specialization choices. You've got 3 with Shandy, and it depends on what you're really trying to buff out. So the first one, Ranger Training, increases the effective dash by 100%. So that means you go from a 25% multiplier on speed to 50%. Honestly, that's kind of... I have muscle memory in now, and whenever this comes up, I just click Ranger Training. To the point where even the other day when I was doing a wall push formation with her and I went to respec her, I even picked Ranger Training instead of one of the damage ones. So I tend to go Ranger Training just because I want speed with Shandy, and then I tend to swap somebody else out. But if we are doing a full Heroes of Baldur's Gate formation, then I want a damagey thing if we're going to try to kill stuff. Again, the Alchemist Fire Expertise is going to boost Explosive Arrow. That's the one I tend to build my formation around, so that's the one I tend to buff. Agile Allies increased by 50% for each neutral or evil champion next to Shandy. So this is a way to additionally buff Agile Allies if you're using that. That's obviously very situational. Agile Allies was in the first place with Dex 15+, but now it's going to give a bonus for neutral evil. So there could be potential ways that this would be the best option for you. You're going to have to math that out and figure it out when you're placing Shandy in when you're fiddling around with your Shandy formation. But yeah, normally for damage you would go. I would go here, and then for speed I go here, which is where I'm going because I always like the speed. You can tell the speed effect is active on Shandy because of that little purple and black arrow here. It's the black arrow with the purple around it, or magenta, whatever color you want to call that. That means the speed effect is in play, and we are going faster than normal. Oh, hey, and we're already soft capped. There we go. And that's that's it. Pretty straightforward champion. Over here, you can see your Agile Allies buffs on the Formations tab, and you can see, Explosive Arrow. We're not going to see any of this stack up because it takes the formation being under attack. Gear-wise, because she is just a full support, you do have the double support damage all champions items, and then she gets Explosive Arrow and Agile Allies because those are the only things that you're really going to buff. She doesn't buff her speed ability outside of her specialization, not with an item. And then obviously ultimate stuff. We get full support buffs, so you get damage all champs and you get her Agile Allies. That's all you get is Agile Allies. You can even get an 80% one with one of the packs in the store, or you can buy it for 50,000 gems. She does get a couple score modifiers. Again, when you're increasing stat scores, that's going to qualify you for variants. It's going to qualify for you for buffs for certain people. It may qualify for you for a patron. You're just going to have to figure those out. There are so many variants in the game and so many different champions. I don't really try to keep it in my head what all of these are going to qualify you for. Just know that you have them available. I think hopefully we'll see some improvements to the feat system in the future, with maybe some more options for like a Shandy. Shandy could probably use something other than Agile Allies buffs. But that's just me. Who knows? That's me. Wishful thinking. Minsk and Boo. Minsk and Boo. So Minsk, people should know Minsk if you've been around D&D for a while. Minsk's a human ranger. And on his shoulder is a miniature giant space hamster. Goes by the name of Boo. Mid space attack is cleave, so when he attacks, he hits all nearby enemies. So, he targets one and then cleaves around and does a nice little AoE damage. He is a DPS or a support. We'll go over that. I feel like he only really has one major support feature. He has some damage all champs, which is support E. The first ability he gets, technically, is a speed ability. But I'm just going to be straight with you right now. Minsk is not a speed champion. Boastful. Whenever a non-boss enemy wave spawns, there's a 10% chance of an extra enemy spawning and a 2% chance of 2 extra enemies spawning. This is supposed to get you through areas quicker, but it's such a small number. 10% to get one. Just having an extra enemy isn't going to speed you up a whole lot. And 2% to get 2. So don't necessarily rely on this as a speed feature. When an extra one does load in, you will be able to tell because it will have a little Minsk head floating on it, like a buff or debuff indicator on the enemy. It'll have Minsk's little head. So if you're ever wondering why you get these little Minsk heads on things, it's from Boastful. Minsk does have favorite enemies, so this is what a lot of people use him as a support for. Because he will increase the damage done to specific things. So humanoids, beasts, undead, fae, monstrosities. How do you know if an enemy is one of these things? You hover over the enemy. And it will tell you. Like if we weren't killing everything instantly over here, we could. Let's pull this off and see. You can tell this is. It says. I can't do it. We're killing things too fast. It says construct. It'll tell you the health total and it'll tell you what it is. If it does not specifically say humanoid, beast, undead, fae, or monstrosity, then it isn't one of those. It just isn't. So don't ask, hey, what do aberrations fall under, or something like that. Well, that's aberrations or aberrations. It has to literally say one of these things. So keep that in mind. So not everything that you're going to run into is something that Minsk is going to help you with, and that's one of the downsides of Minsk. Minsk will boost damage against these, but isn't gonna do this then goes away against everything else. So he likes things where there's a certain number of enemies, and they're like if you have an adventure where the vast majority of things are beasts, he's gonna be great. But once you hit one of those levels that has something else, suddenly you're gonna lose some of your pushing power. So keep that in mind. We are doing Mad Wizard. I'm just going to choose humanoids. There's a good number of humanoids in here. Not on the level I'm on right now, but that doesn't mean there won't be later, right? Okay, level up. There we go. Now, after that, we have Overkill. So this is Minsk's self-DPS feature. So whenever Minsk hits a single enemy with his cleave, he deals more damage. So this is his boss killer, basically. So when you've killed all the trash mobs on a level and you're just facing the boss, Minsk can do extra damage against the boss. And then he also has Legendary Slayer. This is only for him. Again, he deals 450% extra damage against his favorite enemies. So again, he's going all in on his favorite enemies, and this is only helping him out. So the big bonus, again, the feature that you're wanting for support for Minsk is his favorite enemy. But when you're not on his favorite enemy levels, you're just getting this all damage stuff, that extra damage of all champions stuff that he has extra, which you can see the total here. He gets a EO 6 upgrade for global DPS. So it's not bad, but favorite enemy, he gets EO 8. This is a way, combined upgrades is a way to see what the total is once you've got them all. Right under he's not really gonna have anything done over here other than telling you the favorite enemy totals. Gear, items, and feats. Again, it's a Minsk. It's a mix. But he does specifically with his items say just self damage. So So he's a little more selfish of a support than others. And then he has Overkill and Favorite Enemy. So Favorite Enemy is his only support item. His ultimates. But he does have support-ish feats, so he gets the damage all champions feats along with self-damage. And then he has a Favorite Enemy one down here that's, again, it's from a pack from the store, or you can buy it for 50k gems. His ultimate, though, is a nice debuff. This is Go for the Eyes! Mint swings his greatsword in a massive circle centered on the frontmost enemy, while Boo leaps about, causing up to 5 random enemies to take additional damage for 30 seconds. If you pay real close attention and you don't have the game super speed up, you will see Minsk or Boo jumping from enemy to enemy to enemy. Those are the only ones that will take extra damage. So if you have more than 5 enemies on the screen, just know those are the only ones taking boosted damage. Here's what it kind of looks like. Yeah, couldn't tell because everything's dying too quick. But when it's when there's lots going on, you'll see Minsk jump off. Or Boo. I always say Minsk because to me, Boo's the champion. Boo jump off, dance on all the things, and then he jumps out and swings his sword in a big circle. I will make that mistake forever because, again, Boo's the real hero. Boo is the real hero. Delina. Delina is someone everybody should be familiar with if you're new. There's people talk about Delina a lot. Delina is your wild magic sorcerer. It doesn't say that here, but that is what she is. It lets you know over here in her base attack. She is just pure DPS, the purest of DPS. She's not going to offer anything to a group except DPS. So if she is in your formation and she is not who you're building your formation around as a DPS, then she's a waste of a slot. So here in this group, this is why I set Kreidel to support, even though he's DPS. We are trying to build this around Delina because that's all she does. That's all she does is DPS. Her base attack, if you've noticed, it's been changing. It swaps. It changes around. This is her wild magic feature. So right now it's Lightning Bolt. Line of lightning shoots towards a random enemy. Now it's Ice Storm. Storm Vice rains down from above. Now it's Firebolt. A small blast of fire hits a single random enemy. She has one single target ability and 2 multi-target abilities. The Lightning Bolt, I believe, is kind of a line AoE, and then the Ice Storm is like a PB AoE, so point blank AoE around a spot. So she can rotate through some pretty nice wave clear. 2 out of 3 of her abilities are wave clear. So when she gets some damage, it can pop quite a bit. Surge of Power. Increase the damage of Delina by 10% each time they attack, up to a max of 10 stacks. Stacks reset 10 seconds after reaching max, or after not attacking for 10 seconds. So this is kind of a ramp up of power. So, takes 10 attacks. Her attack speed is 5.25 seconds. So that means it takes almost a minute for her to get to full power. Then she's going to sit there, 50 seconds, and then she's going to sit there for another 10 seconds, and then it's going to drop back. And then she just drops like a rock. It's not even a slow drop. She goes like this, falls off a cliff and damage, and then it takes another minute to build up. This is why we generally tell people Delina is not necessarily the best DPS for a brand new player, because when you have damage that has to ramp up for a while and then falls off and then has to ramp up again, that means your tank could potentially be having to tank a lot, and early on it's very difficult for tanks to survive. So she's a bit, she gets a little better later. Empowered Spell. Whenever Delina attacks, there's a 50% chance the spell will burn for an additional amount of damage over 6 seconds. This is the, if it's like a double whammy. She wants to be all the way at the top of this curve, and then she wants to burn them, because the burning is a good chunk of extra damage. So as if she wasn't swingy enough, she has to swing all the way up to the top, and then has to get that burn to really reach her max potential. So upgrade paths. You're either choosing Empowered Spell or Surge of Power. These are the ones we just went over. So Surge of Power is the boosting of the damage every some number of seconds. And then the Empowered Spell is the burn. So you're either raising this boost or you're raising the burn. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to set a high bud, you want to go with Surge of Power, because dots don't set bud. Dots don't really set bud. So I tend to go Tides of Chaos if I'm going to use Delina as a DPS. And then Spell Bombardment, increase the damage of Delina by 100% for each champion in front of them in the formation. This is the thing that it's like, she would like to be all the way in the back. But again, you don't necessarily want to build around that because it's only 100% bonus. It's not the huge feature for her, so if you can do it, great. There are very few formations that will really work with her being all the way in the back. And she doesn't work with her own group that way because Shandy wants to be behind. So Shandy wants to be the one all the way in the back. So keep that in mind. Twin Spell, whenever Delina attacks, there's a 50% chance that they will copy their attack on another target. Again, Delina has the potential to have lots of wave clear. But to get there, you have to go through the whole swing. Now, Surge of Power, you can watch the stacks over here, and you can see the bonuses build up. You can also see it from Spell Bombardment. We're only getting 2 stacks because I don't have a full formation. But you can see it's decent because we've got a lot of... I've got item support, so this can get up high, which is why then if you've got good solid items, but folks, I'm at a shiny level 2100. So, yeah. And it still isn't necessarily the greatest. So we've got self-DPS items, self-DPS feats. She does boost Surge of Power and Spell Bombardment. Those are the two, really, that you would want anyway. It does also boost Empowered Spell. So this is the burn. And then she has Ultimate Reduction, which is actually... that's the one you want. She wouldn't have an ultimate damage item because we haven't talked about her ultimate. It doesn't really do damage. We'll get there in a second. You can boost Surge of Power. We can boost Spell Bombardment with some other feats. We kind of want... I usually go pure damage, but if you were trying to max out with the swing, you would do something more like this, or you would, if you could get this, right? Her ultimate is interesting. Oh, had a gazer on it. That's fine. Delina's eyes begin to glow. She loses herself in her magic, attacking faster and causing her Surge of Power ability to not reset for 15 seconds. So, this is a very active ability. You want to watch her Surge of Power. You want to let it get to its max stacks. And then you want to let it start ticking down on its timer. And then you want to hit your ultimate. Because then it stays at max longer. And she starts attacking faster. And the interesting thing that this will do is this will actually set a higher bud for you. Because your bud, if you remember over here, bud, base ultimate damage. It is the total amount of damage you did to a single target divided by your attack speed. So the lower your attack speed, the higher your... For the same person doing the same damage... the higher your bud. So you could potentially bud spike with Delina in this way if you're playing very actively and watching it. So that's an interesting feature about Delina with her ultimate. Every 60 seconds is the max you're going to get. Well, no, it might go faster. Am I capped out? Oh, I'm capped, yeah. So every 60 seconds is the max you're going to get. That's the max swing. Now I want to preface this by saying, because of those swings of power... Delina is a difficult DPS champion to use. Like I said, you're only getting her optimal DPS once a minute. And only then for about 10 seconds. So it's okay. But at the end of the day, this is why we're usually like, hey, when you sign up for the newsletter, go over here, sign up for the newsletter, and get Hitch, and then use Hitch. Even though Hitch isn't a DPS, Hitch does consistent damage, and actually does a good chunk of damage because he used to be tagged DPS. And you don't have to deal with the swings that will potentially wipe your party, because during those 50 seconds of buildup, where you're not doing a lot of damage, if you're at your wall, your tank's just getting pummeled. And if you're newer, that's going to be not the greatest. But if you're not, I mean, I've used Delina successfully in variants. There are variants later on where you can literally only use your core champions. And so then you have to learn, you'll have to learn how to maximize Delina's usage, because guess who your DPS is. So yeah, keep that in mind. Last member of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate is Neris, the Goth Cleric. So she is a Cleric of Kalimvor, if you can't tell from the eyeshadow. Dash and slash, Neris cleaves all targets near the closest enemy. So a lot like Minsk, just going to run out and do a bit of an AoE. She's healing support though, so not just buffing and no DP, not an actual DPS, even though she's got a cleave, which is interesting. Spiritual Weapon is her first ability when, well, right now it says when Delina attacks, because we're already leveled up a bit, I believe. Yeah, I've already got Follow My Friend. So normally it would say, should have leveled slower. Normally it would say when Neris attacks, Neris' companion also attacks for a percentage of Neris' damage. However, and we're going to skip down here, I already unlocked down here Follow My Friend, so Spiritual Weapon now follows the champion with the highest DPS, attacking when they do and dealing damage based on theirs. So this is so that Spiritual Weapon remains relevant. It's going to sit over here with Delina, you can see, and it will attack and do a bonus damage with Delina. So it is a nice way of buffing your. This is effectively a buff for your primary DPS, because it's going to do a larger percentage of damage than even the DPS does, and it does count as that champion doing the damage. So Delina will still set Bud. More healing. When an enemy is killed, Neris heals the most damaged champion within 2 slots. So this does require a kill. It's not when an enemy is damaged. It is like you have to kill an enemy or you're not getting any healing. Cleric of Kalimvor, folks. So when you get to the point where you're tanking enemies but you're not able to kill them, you're not getting any heals. You get healed. Heals are for closers. You're not getting them otherwise. Unholy, increase the damage done to undead enemies by all champions by 100%. So this is just a nice little added bonus when you're facing undead enemies. Again, it's 100%, so it's not like it's something that only use her against undead. But it's just a benefit that you get from her being a cleric. Specializations, you get either Dig In or Kalimvor's Will. Dig In, more healing triggers when an enemy is reduced to 50% as well. So this is another way you could get additional healing without actually killing things. So you're going to get it at 50%. It's also going to trigger at the kill, so you can potentially be healed twice. Still means you have to do a good chunk of damage to get either of them, but it is extra heals potentially. Kalimvor's Will increases the effect of Spiritual Weapon by 100%. So you just get double the Spiritual Weapon. I tend to just go for this because usually I'm not putting Neris in for the healing. I'm usually putting her in for a Spiritual Weapon. So let's ramp this up here. Yeah, that was everything. That's what I thought. All right. Items and feats. She has healing support, so she's going to get just damage all champs. She's going to get Spiritual Weapon and then her War Healing, so she gets one for the damage and one for the healing. And then it's all about the ultimates. She does get support stuff. She does get intelligence type stuff. This one specifically, the intelligence point, I can tell you what this one does. This one qualifies her for Strahd. That's why it's in there. She has a Spiritual Weapons. She has War Healing. So again, you could go in with her. She's got a decently fleshed out feats. You can either go all in on healing or you can go all in on the damages. She's even got a big one this is the Descent into Avernus pack. We'll go look at that in a minute. And that's where this comes from. But you can also just buy it for 50,000 gems. The ultimate is Tip the Scales. Tip the Scales right down here. She leaps into the field, unleashing a halo of divine energy. It hits all enemies and decreases their damage done while increasing the damage the party does. So this is like a double whammy. Buffing the party and creating some defensive capabilities by cutting enemy damage in half. So this one's good when you're tanking lots of stuff and you need to finish them off. I'll fire it off here. Boom, like that. It's a nice little wave of energy. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That is it. That is all 5 of the heroes of the Baldur's Gate. We got done pretty quick. We're going to go look at the pack in the store. And then we'll just dive into questions, because I figured we got a good number of people here. There's probably going to be a lot of questions. And I'm right. Yeah. So keep in mind, again, Delana and Minsk, core champions. These are new players, brand new players are going to have them automatically. They are going to be in your, available to use right away. They're slots 7 and 8. Cradle comes in is in the event we're currently in. He's slot 2. Shandy is in a different event, and Neris is in a different event. So you can get these from their events, or you can get them from time gates, or you could buy them in the store. Let's go. Where is the pack? Oh, Shandy shows up in the Year 2 Champions of Renown Year 2 All-Star pack right here. If that was a thing, you could pick Shandy up that way. Otherwise, where's it at? I don't want to accidentally fly past it. Here we go. Like Delana has a starter pack. I think Minsk might. I don't have some of these packs I already own. Here we go. Blood War stuff. That's what we wanted. So there are individual Blood War packs. And these will include the champion as well as a skin and that feat I was featuring earlier. And 7 gold chests for them with a guaranteed shiny. Those are all like $10 if you want to buy them individually. Otherwise, there's this pack for $40. And it includes all of those things. So you've got Blood War Minsk with his feat. You've got Blood War Delano with her feat. And then you've got Neris and their Blood War skins with their feats. Now, the event champions are going to have chests for themselves with a guaranteed shiny. However, the core champions, they're actually giving you supply chests. This may not be something that new players have seen yet. Supply chests, they drop 6 cards, so 6 things, and it's only potions or contracts, but it is of rare or better quality. So you're getting either blues or purples, potions or contracts. So supply chests are pretty neat. It's just a way to refill your consumables. But because gear doesn't drop out of that, for Minsk and Delana, they're going to give you potions of polish. That doesn't mean you're going to get a shiny on Minsk and Delana, because this can go anywhere. But because they're not giving there aren't specific Minsk and Delana chests, they can't necessarily give that to you. So they give you the shiny this way. So this is effectively a total of 5 shinies. 3 are going to be on the event champions. 2 are going to be random somewhere else. And then you get a bunch of chests, a bunch of feats. And this, I believe... Hold on, folks. Before I say this out loud, because I'm frazzled today, because we were behind schedule. Hold on. I believe there was an update about... it's not pinned anymore. This week's Q&A. Make sure you're checking out the Q&As on Reddit each week. Sometimes they're going to make announcements about deals. And yes, Blood War skins. For all platforms except for PlayStation, we'll get to PlayStation in a second, May 12th through 19th, so starting next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, for a week, the Blood War skins, so the skin and feet packs, will be on sale. It's a retirement sale, because they rotate out some DLC every now and then. And this DLC has been around for a while, so they're going to rotate it out, and they will add new DLC later. But on this outward rotation, it is going to go on sale for you. So if you're looking for the Baldur's Gate crew and you want to deck them out in skins, or you just want to pick them all up, the extra ones that you don't have as part of a pack with skins, that will be going on sale on this coming Wednesday. For PlayStation users, it's on sale from the 12th through the 26th, because they have different dates for sales for different things that are retiring. overall for the other platforms, but PlayStation just has it all on sale for the whole time. And then everything's going to be, all of that gets retired on the 28th, so the end of May. And that means we'll be getting new stuff probably the beginning of June, end of May, beginning of June. Yay for new stuff. I'm excited to see what they're going to add. There we go. All right. So I am going to hit pause. We're going to go listen to a song. Oh no. What song did I say we were going to listen to? Because of all the ISP issues before we started, I did not prep all the songs. Hold on. So let me find the song. Nice thing about we have a show on Tuesdays. The Idle Champions community. That's why I'm saying because this one we really all do together. It's called Bardic Inspiration. It's where they make music for the game. Oh, this is the one we're going to listen to. And they pick a different champion or enemy or town in D&D, and they make a song about it. We all make a song about it. So I think if you've just started in the last couple weeks, you haven't seen an episode yet. Should be returning this coming Tuesday, so stick around for that. We're going to listen to, this is the Space Hamster Blues. This is the song for Minsk and Boo. I'll be right back. Space Hamster Blues.
I was on my way to Toro when I crashed and was shrunken down. Now I'm stuck here wandering with this loud and rowdy clown. But kick him for goodness, I hear him shout from town to town. Here we are in Baldur's Gate, fighting monsters and bale spawn. He said something about magic and swords forever won. But kick him for goodness, oh my goodness, not again. He says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, but it sure looks like the blues to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The rain and mud on my face. Life was simpler out in space. Crossing stars in the astral sea. Whatever happened to me? Kicking down doors, blood on the floors, endless heroic killing spree. Says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, and it sure looks like the blues to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, yeah, almost dead and it's thrill. My best friend trying to get us killed. The bigger they are, the harder he hits. Even demons and devils run back to their pits. The safety of numbers and we're with these 5 or 6. Now we're heroes and legends, fighting evil with my crew. Beholders and dragons and goblins and kobolds, may our swords strike ever true. Where goes the stench of evil, so goes the cleansing wind of Minskin Bull. So now we go for the eye. Yeah, we go for the eye. How about we go for the eye? Yeah, we go for the eye. Oh, how time flies when you're going for the eye.
It's pretty great. Holy crap.
That was Jim Zub himself. He joined the Bardic Inspiration team to help make the Space Hamster Blues. Because who else? I mean, who else are you going to have rocking out than the person who currently writes the Baldur's Gate comics? All right, we're going to go into the Q&A, so I'm going to skim through and try to pull out the ones that are specifically for Baldur's Gate heroes. And then we'll go back and do all the rest, because that's normally how this goes. Let's see what we can get done in an hour. Let's see here. Lots of general questions from early on. What are wild cards? That's just the name of Kreidl's ability. There aren't actual wild cards. It's just wild cards. Kreidl increases the damage of champions with a charisma score of 11 and lower, 17 and higher. Like, there aren't actual wild cards. That's just the term used for his ability. Is Shandy an event or evergreen champion? She's an event champion. Off the top of my head, let's see. I kind of have a guide for this. So over on my wiki page, like Reddit wiki page, I list out all the champions, but I also list them in relation to their events. So, see when she's coming up here. She's going to come up with Midsummer. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 events away. So you got a ways to go if you want to wait to pick Shandy up in an event. And while we're here, let me double check Neris. I think we already had Neris. Yeah, Neris is now Time Gate only. Neris originally arrived with Winter Shield, but she had her event about 5 events ago. So 6 events ago. So she is Time Gate only. And Kreidl we're doing right now. And if you don't pick up Kreidl during the event that's going on right now, the running, well, you'll be able to pick him up later, because he was actually a year 3 champion. But you'll have to pick him up in the meantime. You can wait a year, or you can run a time gate and pick him up. But I don't know that he's necessarily who you want to spend a time gate on. But that's fine. Let's see. Would you want Shandy in the second to last row to get the dex and criminal contract bonuses for the most available champs? I mean, it depends on who your DPS is. Again, usually what I'm working on with Shandy is Explosive Arrow for that, and then I look at Agile Allies secondarily, because my team, at high levels, my team is what it is. Like, I know who I'm going to want to use, and I know the formation I want to build, and Shandy's usually in there for speed, but if I want to use her as DPS, I'm going to look at that Explosive Arrow boost first, and then I'm going to look at Agile Allies second. But, ultimately look at what your formation is, try to optimize it for Agile Arrows, and see which bonus is going to work out better for you. If it fits that you can match all of those things, and the math comes out better, then go with the higher number. Let's see. Anything else about the heroes of Baldur's Gate? How big is a Boo damage multiplier? I mean, Boo's a giant space hamster. I don't know what the additional damage here is off the top of my head, and I don't know. Let me go check and see if I've got that as a number somewhere. Someone may have this in a document somewhere. I just have it saying additional damage, so I don't know what the ultimate debuff is off the top of my head. Someone may have pulled that out of the game files and have it available. You can ask in the Discord. But the thing about that is any debuffs are only going to matter for base attacks, so keep that in mind. You can't like do a Minsk ultimate and then go do the other ultimates. The other ultimates don't get increased damage just because of this. You have to wait. You have to do the ultimate, wait for your DPS to set a new high bud, and then fire off new stuff. And then fire off new stuff. How do I get Neris? Again, Neris is an event champion. Well, she was originally an event champion. Now she's a time gate only champion, so you have to run a time gate for Neris. That's up here. There's going to be a natural one next week. Next Friday, or so this coming Friday. But if you have 6 pieces, you can open one up manually, and then you just scroll down and you find whoever you want to grab, including Neris, right here, and pick up the champion of your choice that way. What time of year are there events? Oh, like I said, Neris is going to come out of a time gate. Shandy's coming up soon. Cridle's right now, so Shandy's in the future, 3 to 4 events away. Cridles is going on currently. Is it possible to get the Heroes of Baldur's Gate without spending Astral Chaos? Yeah, every champion in the game you can get without spending money. I'm just letting you know that they're, again, you can get them out of their event. You can wait for their event to come around. Their event will happen once a year, or if their event if they aren't in events anymore, like Neris, then you get them out of a time gate. Just unlock Shandy's +1 charisma feat. Is that ever useful? Potentially. Like I said, it's gonna depend on. Let me see what her numbers are. Charisma 14, so one's gonna put her at 15. What is? Oh, that's not what I wanted. What does Hitch want again? Hitch is the one that comes to mind first. He wants 14, so that would be fine without it. So yeah, it's probably a variant of some kind. I don't know. I don't keep that stuff memorized. I just, when I go to, because there's, like 175 plus variants in the game, just in the main campaigns, not to mention all of the event variants. Like every champion has 3 variants associated with them. So that's another, a couple hundred. So I don't memorize all of those. All of those. Yeah, that's not a thing that's gonna happen. Okay, that was all the specific stuff. So I'm gonna go back and do all the generalized Q&A now. Let's see, what do we got? Give me that back. Behave. Just wondering, is there a way to skip hero upgrades but get later ones? Nope, they're all progressive. You got to go through one to get the others. Any differences about the platforms like Epic versus Steam? Specifically those two. Epic has a 64-bit client. Steam doesn't. Steam usually gets updates and bug fixes first, and then they populate out everywhere else. Yeah, between those two, I don't know of any other major differences. I mean, Epic just got a giveaway of some champions and stuff. That's why we got a lot of new players from Epic. But CNE gives stuff away all the time, so who knows. But other platforms, I mean, there's differences. Like the game is, depending on which version of the game, because PC usually gets patches first, and then it populates out to other places because WebGL is a whole different code base, and they have to rebuild whatever they did for Steam onto WebGL, and then consoles have to go through certification. So there's schedules that involve that will make differences between what patches on what certain things, but ultimately the game, the goal is it gets played the same across all platforms. Yeah. So yeah. Is it okay that I will receive only 50 Torm's favor from 900,000 acorns? I don't know what that means. Are you... Delphine, EG, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about like you got 900,000 favor in the event? Because that's not acorns. That's Riliphane's favor. And that's not even an acorn symbol. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you don't have, if when the event ends, if you don't have lots of favor in the campaign, in the campaign you want to convert to, you're gonna have a week. You're gonna have a week to go grind Torm's favor. So you don't have to convert right away if you'd rather not. If you'd rather get a bigger number and make it look bigger, that's up to you. Once I've unlocked Shotgun, finishes 3 variants. Is there any reason for me to use a time gate on him? Would that give me an opportunity to unlock more chests for him? Yeah, I mean that's the thing is usually you don't. Usually, especially newer players aren't gonna like get full epic across an event champion. So you would use time gates to then, if it's when you get to the point where you're trying to get them up to full epic gear, you would use time gates as one of the ways to max out your gear for them. So yeah, I think early on as a player, as a newer player, your focus should be on fleshing out a deep bench, so having lots of viable options. And as long as your event champions are in, roughly bluish gear, they're going to be okay. You're going to be able to push pretty well with them through the early game, definitely through the early game, and then start into the mid game, and then after that you start working towards getting full epics. But that's going to be later, and then you do that with time gates. You do that with their event. You do that with patron chests. How do you see your event progress? You click on this thing up here, the big leaf, and then you can click on each specific one to see like what your progress is for each of these. I still need to do his make them glow achievement, but the thing is, I'm not in any rush because I can do this achievement at any point in time. It doesn't have to be done during the event. The only one that absolutely has to be done during the event is this 175, the one with the number on it, like getting to the area. This can only be done in an event. Everything else can be done outside of an event. Doing the adventures is easier in an event, in my opinion, but they can be done in time gates. Do you earn something by completing the event at 100% before the event stops? I mean, nothing extra, no. No, like I said, I'm in no hurry to... Like, there isn't an additional bonus for getting 100%. You're just getting those achievements, and those achievements are each giving you... 1%, right? There isn't an extra for getting all of them. They're just giving you a tracker with this. They're just giving you a tracker so you know, okay, I finished this off. I just have to focus on Shaka now if I want to get everything 100%. That's all. Kings of Vandergonds, do any given free play adventures increase actual difficulty to the point that should be avoided, or as long as they have no restriction, it shouldn't matter? Like if you tried to farm a brief tour of the realms or a tower on the lake. So with a regular free play, the difficulty comparisons, if you're trying to do a deep favor push, should be looked at in terms of, do they have armored bosses or not, really? Or does that boss have a special mechanic that makes it more difficult? That's really all you're looking for. In a regular adventure, it's variants that are going to have restrictions. But I think there's probably a list out there of well, I know there are certain resources on the internet that'll tell you like if there are difficult bosses or something, and you can use that to make decisions on, like, if there's armored bosses, to use that to make decisions on where you're doing your deep pushes. But honestly, in some places you're just going to have to go for it. That's why usually if you're going through a campaign for the first time, just treat every free play like a deep push. So just push as far as you can to your wall, or not free play, every base storyline adventure. Avoid the variants, just do the storyline adventures. Push as far as you can on each one. And even if one's more difficult and you bail out and you didn't get a huge gain, the next one might be easier and you'll get a bigger gain there, and you just snowball all that through from the start to the end. If a character has Charisma 16 plus 2, is that still viable to use with Krydle? Well, it depends on what you're doing with Krydle. Like, how are you using them, right? Like, his ability says, if it's 12 to 16, then it's buffing Krydle. Then Krydle's getting more damage from that. But if it's 11 or below or 17 or higher, he's buffing them. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to give Krydle increased damage with a Charisma 16 character? Or are you trying to buff them? Because you can't buff them because it's not in the buffable range. Keep in mind... Oh, yeah, I think the +2 is throwing them. The +2 is... This is D&D stuff, folks. +2, like if I'm right here, con 15 +2. +2 is a reference to the bonus I'm getting by having 15 con. It's not 15 +2. I don't have 17 con. This is where you got to understand a little bit of D&D. The base modifier, like at 10, 9, 10, and 11, you have a 0 modifier, as you can see here with 11. Every 2 points you're above or below 10, your modifier gets reduced by 1, and this is for like saving throws and ability checks. So if I'm at 16, I would actually be +3, not +2, because I've got 3 instances of being up 2 points. So if I were to roll a charisma saving throw on a d20 and I get a 15, it's 15 plus 3. I have an 18 on my roll. My charisma stays 16. My charisma is 16. So this has to do with things like that. This has to do with things like that. And yes, that kind of stuff is in the game. There are certain bosses that are going to make you do ability checks and saving throws. So, yeah. It's out there. It's rarer. You probably haven't run into it yet. They didn't start throwing those kinds of bosses in, I think, until later stuff. What lets you start out with crazy amounts of gold? Favor. Favor does. Right? So I started out with E62% gold find. And that's because I have E60 favor in Torm. Favor is the big one. I'm also getting a boost from... Oh no, I have a different Modron in, so that's not it. I might be getting some boosts from blessings. Like, there are other ways to do it, but favor is the big modifier for how much gold find you're going to have, even if there's no champions in your formation. That's not a question, that's a joke. Would Mage Hand be considered a thieves' cantrip? Champions that are not added to the formation, is there any point in upgrading them? No. Do their benefits work, or is there no point? No point. Yeah, this is why they differentiate. This is why these are blue. Well, okay, hold on. I'm gonna add Briv for a second to demonstrate. Blue means they're not in the formation. Green means they are. Only upgrade the ones that are green. This was a quality of life feature that was added. Originally, it was all the same color, and people were like, oh, I keep upgrading things that aren't in my formation. But yeah, now you can tell. Green means go, blue means no. Yeah. So if they're not in your formation, don't waste your gold on them. Don't upgrade until you put them in the formation. I never understood why Calliope's ultimate is a magic attack. She fires a crossbow bolt that should be ranged. I don't know. Flavor? Did I unlock it yet? There we did. It's probably because of the magical effect that comes with it, but I don't know. Yeah, flavor. Flavor. I don't know. Submit a ticket. Say, hey, this is a crossbow bolt. It should be a physical attack, and then ask, and then see what they tell you. That's how I learned so much things year one. When the game first came out, I learned so much about the game by asking that very question, but via a ticket through support. Shouldn't this be this and this, and then they tell me the answer, and then I knew. And then I could answer when other people asked. But keep in mind, back then, support wasn't Sean. Support was Dave, one of the founders of the game. So, or one of the founders of the company. So yeah. As a new player started during this current event, after you've completed the stages of the event, so you go back to the main campaigns, or should you stay in the event stages and push there? If you've completed, like if you've completed the variants for the stuff, I should do this from the campaign page over the campaign map, so it's easier to tell. That's not the right one. There we go. The running. If you completed all of these, like all of these variants, they have check marks. Then you don't necessarily have to push for more favor. You will want to use your leaves. Like I have 2,800 leaves right now. I'm going to want to do a Shaka free play later. You're going to want to burn those tokens to get more gear for the champion of your choice. But you don't necessarily have to push super deep. You can do the you can just do your regular campaigns while you're waiting for more leaves. Since chests can give gold, is it silver chests specifically? Since silver chests can give gold, is it better open chests later in your run than opening them randomly? Technically, yes. If you want that gold to spend on leveling up your champs, then you want to get to like a soft wall first, like a place where you think you have some room left to level up champs, but you need some more gold, then you open them there. What happens when I get a duplicate card? Kebab and fries. Ooh, now I want that for lunch. When you get duplicates, it raises your item levels. So like this is a level 275. That got there because I've opened lots of chests for Sentry and I got duplicates. I also used blacksmithing contracts. So those are two ways to raise the power of your items. So duplicates are good because they're making that item more powerful. Yeah. Someone tell me why familiars are important for clickers. I'm only new and click damage seems so much lower than champion damage. Yeah, the game is built around building a formation and having your champions push. Click damage is okay early on. Like when you can level your click damage, keep your click damage level higher than your area level, then clicking is good. This is a function of favor. I have lots of favor, as I just demonstrated. I have E60 favor in Torm, so in the Sword Coast. So my click damage level is 370 at the moment, and I'm only on area 237. So I can keep click killing for another 133 levels just fine. But when you're brand new, you might only click kill through the first 5 to 10 levels. At that point, after that, familiars, you might leave them out here for different reasons, right? So if I hover over this, I'm holding down F. If I hover over this, it says with 3 or more familiars on and this is referring to out here in these slots, gold gets instantly collected. That's basically a speed feature. With 5 familiars, boss sacks get picked up right away. That again is a speed feature. With 6, it kills distractions, any distractions automatically. So once click damage doesn't do anything for you, you can choose, if you don't have many, to either leave them out on the field and get those kind of speed features, or to put them on a champion and level up your champion. Like if I put this down here, it would level up Minsk if they had anything left. Or you can have it roam your ultimate bar, like this, and hit a random one. Or you can put it specifically on an ultimate and have it hit it whenever it's off cooldown. Right, so there's different features. Let's see. New player here. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm glad to hear it. Welcome. I believe there's a lot of you now, and it's wonderful. I'm interested in supporting C&E and buying something. Is there a recommendation for what is the most efficient way to spend 20 to 30 bucks? Yeah, I think everyone's going to say, generally speaking, the Founders Pack, which I can't show it to you because I bought it already, because it's great. Founders Pack for this year, I believe, because there's a new one every year, every event year. It should have a skin for Jarlaxle in it, and it's going to have a familiar, and it's going to have a bunch of chests, and it's going to have a bunch of gems. It's also going to have a potion that lets you earn more gems off of bosses. So it's kind of this great multi-purpose thing that gives you quality of life by a familiar. It gives you lots of gems that you can buy lots of chests with, or you could buy more familiars with. It lets you earn more gems. It gives you lots of gear. It gives you, it's just a nice overall kind of collection of things. If you want to focus in a little harder on stuff, then you have to decide what do you prefer. Do you want more quality of life stuff? Like quality of life, I think familiars are useful from the time you start the game and up until the time you decide to stop playing the game. I'm 17,000 hours in. Familiars are my jam, yo. You need lots of them. The further you get in the game, the more you need. But they let me automate things, and that's wonderful because I want to hands-off stuff. But if you'd rather have power, then the packs that give you chests, like and feats, those are going to be more your jam, and there's a variety of those. And then if you just like making, if you like cool outfits, there's skins. But I think the Founders Pack is pretty solid. Once you unlock Modrons, which is going to be way later, there's a Modron Founders Pack, and that's solid. Now that the buff isn't automatic, now that it gives you a potion, and the Founders Packs have gotten even better. So look for those. And like I said, I don't want to say don't spend unless there's a sale, but there is a sale coming up next week, starting on Wednesday. And the DLC that you buy in that sale is not going to be available in the store anymore. It will show up as a wild offer. Wild offers show up every couple of days, and it rotates through items. They pop up here. But if there's something in the store that's going on, that retirement sale, and it's something you really like, that's the time to grab it, because you won't be able to buy it at will anymore. During mission, if we complete wave 50 and get a chest, can we get more of them if we pass higher levels? Nope. That's in events. It's just 50. That's how events function. In time gates, you get a silver chest for every unique 100 areas you go. So the first time you pass 100, the first time you pass 200, the first time you pass 300, there's no farming there because it's not just go to 100 over and over. You have to progressively get deeper. You're rewarded the better you do there. But in an event, because there's so many other things that are limited in events. They're just like, hey, go to 50 and get a chest, and it's good. Should I rush a Zaka or Dritz? I mean, when you're a brand new player, as part of your progress, it just makes a lot of sense to get used to how the game works by just making Dritz your first unlocked. You push through adventures, you'll get enough favor to get a global blessing in Torm, which is beneficial everywhere. And you'll pick up another bench option, which moves you forward towards unlocking Split the Party. But then you go straight into Tomb of Annihilation and pick up a Zaka. What is the best time to reset a run? Ooh. Hold on. So this is a question I'm seeing pop up a lot. It does not have an easy answer. Usually, how I see this question asked, like phrased, is at what % favor increase should I reset? Or how much favor should I have before I reset? I want you all to adjust your heads and not think about it that way. It's not about a fixed goal. It's not about a fixed % increase. It's not about a fixed amount of favor. What you want to kind of adjust your expectations for and what you want to learn is how to determine when you've gotten to your actual wall for a run. If you notice I slowed down, that's because I want to make sure that everyone's getting this. This is super important information. Learning how to determine when you reach your wall is a very big deal in this game. So what is a wall? There's a couple different things I refer to as walls. I think you've heard me earlier in the show refer to a click damage wall. There's also what I call soft walls. There's a speed wall for me. Like, these are my things that I refer to when I'm talking about stuff, explaining stuff. There's a click damage wall. There's a speed wall. There's soft walls. But then eventually there's the wall. There's the place where you're just not getting any further from with normal gameplay. Normal gameplay. I had to put that caveat in there because in idle champions, there's always an exception to every rule. So click damage wall is what I was explaining earlier. That's basically the point where I stop instant killing things with my click damage. My speed wall is the point where I stop progressing with just a full speed formation, like where the damage of champions that are just speed champions stop working. Some people have lately been building like full gold find champion, like full gold find parties. That would then create a gold find wall. You could go further than all of these walls so far. That's kind of the idea. So then you start building out groups that are actual pushing groups, and then you start hitting like all of those are what I would call soft walls. But when you start doing pushing groups that are focused on really just giving you the highest bud and the highest area progress possible, you will start hitting much firmer and potentially hard walls. And that is the point where when you get to a level and you're trying to clear that level, you're not necessarily able to kill everything right away. And in fact, while you're trying to clear the level, you might die. That is potentially your wall. It may just be a soft wall, in the sense that if you upgrade your champions more, you could, like if you farm some gold on a prior level, you could upgrade your champions and push further. And that's what you want to do in those situations. It may also mean that that's the point where you start playing around with your formation and adjusting which champions are in or where they're placed to see if you can actually raise your bud and push further. This is how you determine which champion is best, is best for certain roles for you. Just keep in mind that they're best at that level. And before that, you may be better with something else, and after that, you may be better with something else. So this is kind of how you learn how to maximize your pushing in any given situation, is by adjusting your formation at a wall that you've hit. However, you're going to hit a point where you're sitting. I talked about this jokingly yesterday on Twitter. When kind of a legal disclaimer, if you've been at a wall for more than an hour, or like if you've been at a wall for an hour or more, please reset your adventure immediately. Kind of that medical disclaimer, and that's kind of the truth. So if you've been at your actual wall, like if you hit a wall to the point where you're dying or you can't kill anything, maybe they can't kill you, which is a bad place to be in, because if you're not killing anything, you're not earning gold. So you come back, you earn some gold, you're trying to level up, but even when you've leveled up multiple different champions in multiple different ways, you still haven't been able to push past that level. You're at your wall. That's what you want to push to get to, like, to get the most amount of favor. If you want to sit on a level near there where you can kill enemies for half an hour, like you probably have already been doing that for a half an hour to try to see if you can get further. If you've been sitting there trying to farm and push for a half an hour and you're not able to, you are at your wall and it is time to reset. Nowhere in there did I say, check how much favor you've earned, or check what percentage increase you have. Like, because none of that is actually what you're looking for. Like, when you get there, it's nice to look at it, right? But that's not your goal. Your goal is to get to that wall when you're doing a deep push for favor. The goal is to get to your wall, and your wall's going to change for lots of different ways. Like, and I can't give you a flat favor amount, because if you look right here, the favor I'm getting is E26, which would be amazing for a lot of you, right? But if you notice, my percent increase is less than 1%. So for me, that's garbage, right? So you can't give numbers. You can't give flat favor numbers as a target. And you can't give percent numbers either, because I might say go to 1,000%, but you might not be able to. Like, you may then spend 6 hours or 8 hours at a wall trying to get to 1,000 because you think that's where you have to get, when it's not true. Or you might get to 1,000 and reset when you might have been able to get 1,000,000% favor if you'd kept going, right? So Don't look at total numbers. Don't look at percentage increases. Look at figure out, am I at my wall or not? That's what we really want to hit, right? So keep that in mind. It's going to take a while in practice, and eventually you'll get a feel for it. It'll become like second nature. Oh, I'm at my wall, or I'm close enough to my wall, and I'm good. Because the key is you don't want to spend more than an hour sitting at the end of the run trying to farm favor, because you could use that favor, all that favor you'd gained, on your next run to upgrade your champions faster and push further. And you could use that, any other time you'd spent beyond that first 30 minutes or an hour, trying to get back to your wall again, and thus earning more favor on the next run. So, yeah. The only time you want to idle at your wall for longer than an hour is if you're like, I'm just going to set this up and then I'm going to go to bed and it's going to be up, and then overnight it ends up idling for a while and earning you favor. But you don't want to plan on that. Like, if you're actively playing, don't do that. All right, back to questions. Tell you right now, we're probably not going to get through all of them. I'm going to do my best, folks. I'm going to do my best. Lots of questions. Remember, you've always got the Reddit and the Discord to ask questions on. What's the benefit of using scientific notation over non-scientific? Scientific just seems to throw more confusing decimals and numbers into the mix. I guess it's a perspective. I find scientific notation to be more useful to me because unless I'm like trying to hunt an achievement where the achievement's like kill 10,000 things or something, and I need to know what 10,000 is, most of the time I don't need to know what the number is. I don't need to know what the real world number is. What I need to know is when I make a change, do my numbers go up or do they go down? And I find scientific notation is easier to do that with, because scientific notation, I'm looking at these numbers. I can very clearly see that 5 is lower than 6. So my average DPS is going down, right? But if it were to go down to E44 after I made a change, or E84 after I made a change, I would know that change was not good. If it went, I shouldn't be using this. I should be using this. Bad Gar. But if it went up to it's E84 right now, if it went up to E85 after a change, that means that change was good. That's how I want to read it. If I'm looking at, if I switch over here, it's not going to change because I'm too high. Yeah, my numbers are too high. Eventually, it's going to go to scientific notation no matter what. And so, but like here, 322N% gold find, like big N. I don't know what that means. I don't want to have to memorize all those letters. I don't already know those letters. There's too many things in this game. There's too much information in this game in my head already. I don't want to know what this letter is. I know there's a real world number associated with it. But if I were to make a change and this went to some other letter, I then have to know what that letter means. I have to know what that letter means to know if I just went up or down. I don't want to know that. I just want to know here, E62%. If I make a change in this, then the number after the E goes up, or the numbers before the E goes up, if any of these numbers go up, it was a positive change. If they went down, it was a negative change. I use these as relative measurements. I just know, hey, one way is bigger, one way is lower. That's all I need to know. You can get into knowing exactly what the E's mean if you want. The answer to that is the number after the E is how many decimal places you're moving that, how many points you're moving that decimal place to the right. To the right for all of you. So if it's 5EO4, that's a super easy one. That's 50,000. Or no, that's 5. Yeah, that's 50,000 because that moves the decimal point over 4. That gives me 4 zeros in this example. That's 50,000, right? I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know, though, the other numbers. These are the only ones I need to know because I just need to know up and down. Just need to know if it goes up and down. That's why you're going to see this used when people are talking about targets and things to hit. They're going to be using E numbers because it's very easy to know what the E is. It's just straightforward. I don't need to know what that real life number is. I just need to know that my target is 2.5 E90. It's straightforward. Also, there are references in the game to orders of magnitude, like it's going to give you a buff for every order of magnitude you are greater than the last. This comes into case in Champion Morgaine, specifically, is one of them. When they reference that order of magnitude, they're referring to E. They're referring to E numbers. So EO1, EO2, EO3. That is what they're referring to when they're saying order of magnitude. Also, in your time gate and event conversions, the multiplier you get to convert against your main campaign is based off E's, orders of magnitude. So for every order of magnitude of favor you have earned, so every EO1, you get 10% as a multiplier against your main campaign. So right now I am at E47, Riliphane's favor. That means I get 470% as a multiplier against my main campaign. Okay, that's a big multiplier. In game, that's a lot of favor, right? I'm not going to get that on a run, because as the further you go, the smaller your gains are in favor. So, you know, these are the reasons why you kind of want to start learning E's, and you want to get used to using E's, because it makes things just easier reference in the community, but easier reference in game, and easier in understanding how much you're going to get for time gates and event conversions. Is there a reward for completing 100% of the running on all three characters? Just all the individual achievements. Is Spurt good for anything? Yeah, he's a support. He's good as a support. He's not a tank, which is what I keep seeing people use him as, or hear people using him as. He's not a tank, folks. When you're brand new to the game, I know if you're from Epic Games, you got Spurt for free, and he's got a lot of gear, and that's nice and all, but you need a tank, and Naeli is your tank when you're brand new. Yeah. So, Spurt is not a tank. He's a great support, though. How do I get Neris? We covered that. Neris is available from a time gate only, or purchasing a Blood War pack out of the store. What's the per certain sale coming with the DLC retirement? I have no idea. It's going to be less. Cryodacry, I did the math. There's a point where you want to buy chests from the store on the event. It's when you hit 2,000 leaves to enter the event. The price of entering the event keeps going up. No. Nope. There's never a point where you want to buy chests. There's only one time you want to buy chests from the store with your leaves. This is what we're talking about, folks. For those who don't know, if I come over here to an event champion, it'll say one chest, 10,000 event tokens. Right now, that's leaves. There's only one time you want to buy those out of the store, and it's Monday morning, and the event's about to end, because the event ends at noon, and you do not have time to run 4 free plays. So if you have 10,000 tokens, that's 4 free plays. Because yes, the token amount goes up for free plays when you do them, but it caps at 2,500. So you can run 4 free plays for 2,500 tokens. The pity timer on getting a gold chest from event free plays is 4. That means in 4 free plays, you're guaranteed to get 1 gold chest, but also, at worst, 3 silvers that are going to give you item levels that you want. At best, 4 golds. So, if you have time, you always want to run free plays for chests. Always. But if you don't have time, and it's 30 minutes, like it's 30 minutes to the event reset. Events reset. This is important. Events reset Mondays at noon Pacific. So figure out what that is for your time zone, and mark a reminder. Half an hour before that, you want to make sure you start your last run, because in the last 15 to 20 minutes of an event, the server has problems because every single player is resetting and trying to get in a last run or a couple last runs. And all of those server calls happening at the same time, they just can't, like, there's no realistic way for them to have the server ability to handle all of that, it would be wasted the rest of the time, right? The server needs a hug on Monday mornings, always. So it's going to be problematic. So make sure, like around a half an hour or in that last hour of the event, that you're getting your last run in and that you've used them all up. But if you can't, and you've got 10,000 left and you're like, ooh, server's going to die soon, I'm just going to buy a chest. Just go buy a chest. But that's only Monday mornings. Yeah, the server gets the server is getting a hug. The hug of death, yeah. It just happens. It happens every Monday to a certain extent because for reasons, patrons resetting, but it's even more so after an event, even more so as an event is ending. This is a good one. Limaz, I can't get Dragon Bait. I get all the way up to 499, insta-killing everything, all maxed out. Then I get to the last boss, Valindra. Get down to 2 respawns and she instantly wipes the party. What am I doing wrong? Well, it sounds like you have the damage you need. It sounds like your bud is fine. Where the problem is you don't have survivability. I think that should be clear. You need to add more tanks. Unlocking Dragon Bait, so fighting Valindra Shadow Mantle in Tomb of Annihilation, is what I think is a fantastic variant because it forces you to balance damage and survivability. You have to be able to do damage while staying alive. And it's great. So, usually you're using a fire breath potion. I have a guide for this, shockingly. But usually using like a fire breath potion to insta-kill all the trash mobs so that everybody's only hitting Valindra. And then you need multiple tanks, 2, maybe even 3, depending on your problems. You need to be using health potions. That's another big deal. You also need to be making sure, depending on what tanks you have, that they're in their tank spec and they're sharing health. So like if you have Nayeli in there, she needs to be in Devotion. She's not sharing health if she's in Vengeance. You should be using, probably by that point, you should probably be using different tanks. But also keep in mind, when I say there's exceptions to every rule, this is one of those cases. When you're fighting Valindra and you're using fire breath potions to kill all the trash mobs, your tanks do not need to necessarily be in the tank, the normal tank column. When I fought Valindra on one of the patron runs, my tanks were in the back because I was using tanks that just needed to be within 2 slots to give buffs, or they just buffed everyone. So they didn't need to be in front. So read your stuff and see. Your tanks may not need to be in the front. Just find your optimal formation. Have 2, or if you already have 2 and you're still dying, add a 3rd tank. Figure out who your lowest buffer is and add a 3rd tank. And that should get you through. Valindra, that's such a great fight, though. I love that fight. If I open a Melf chest without having Melf, will his items be deleted or will they stay in an inventory until I get Melf? Yeah, they stay in your inventory. They go to the collection, but they're hidden because you haven't unlocked Melf. And when you unlock Melf, they'll appear. Why do PlayStation players not get the Iron Pup on sale? I have no idea. I'm not a part of any of that. I'm just passing on the information that was in the Reddit Q&A. When I purchase something in the store, is it normal for it to show up only once I've restarted the game? Normal? No, but, restarting the game is the first QA thing you should always do when you run into an issue. So, yeah, maybe. But normal, I wouldn't say normal, but I wouldn't say it's not normal either. It can happen. Do you prefer Shaka or Makos? It depends on what I'm doing. For me, I think Shaka is. I mean, this kind of goes into my ideas of like what I like about champions. I like new additions to the game to be useful in very specific situations. I don't like ones that are great everywhere, because I feel like that just creates a very stale meta. So I like it when someone is great right here and not great in all these other places, because that means that whenever I go into a variant, I'm constantly getting to place these different puzzle pieces in and using different ones. I like that. I think Shaka comes in very well in that. Shaka will be useful in very specific situations, maybe not all the time. I'm personally okay with that. I like that he is a full group shielder. We only had one of those prior that gave reliable shields, and that was Calliope. I like that I can now use Briv as a full group healer while also having Shaka as a full group shielder for very specific situations. And I look forward to trying him out in those. How to find your Reddit? Oh, it's you can find it all. I think someone probably linked this earlier. Gar Guides, that's to my resources. But know that there is, if you click on the wiki when you're on the subreddit, there are resources from lots of people. There are specific pages for Mars and Silisa because they have a bunch of stuff that is collected in there. But then there's one that says other resources, and that's like the rest of the community has lots of resources on the Idle Champs Reddit. You can also find a link to all my stuff on Steam now under Steam Guides. There is like effectively Gaarawarr's Guide to Gaarawarr's Guide. It's basically that what would look like that wiki page. It has all the links to everything, and you can so that you can access everything at once. Because I'm not doing all 90 of my guides on Reddit and on Steam. They use different formatting, and I ain't got time for that. How do I get a time gate piece? Play the game. Every 5 days, one's going to drop off a boss. It's not something that you farm. It's not something you really need to worry about too much. It's just going to happen on its own as long as you're progressing. Like I said, and this comes down to making sure you're not sitting at walls for days and days and days. Because if you're sitting at a wall for multiple days, you're not killing like a boss unless your wall was a boss level and you're killing it over and over. But generally speaking, like you have to kill a boss. It only drops on a boss, so just keep killing bosses. Do we have any idea who the next champions are? Sure. The Great Modron March is the next event. It should arrive May 19th. I say should because sometimes they give another gap week with like double time gates and double content, but I don't know that that's what's happening this time. So it should arrive May 19th. We will see the return of the Year 3 champion Jaheira and the Year 2 champion Keelik. Keelik is a support healer and a member of the Heroes of Erois. Jaheira is a support DPS. I'm trying to remember. Is there anything else specific? Yeah, Jaheira is an interesting support DPS. I think she's pretty solid for newer players because she has lots of options. Like she has lots of switches to specifically get her into whatever your group is. There are other better options out there, but it's good to have options, like I said. And Keelik is a swap here with Calliope. So again, this goes to you could have a healer with Shaka and who's a shielder. Whereas before, like it was just, do I want shields or do I want heals? And generally speaking, usually you want shields. Because preventing damage is fantastic. Jaheira's here and is going to be a slot for Jarlaxle. So I think this is great for new players. If you don't have any other options in this slot, you can now, once you graduate out of Jarlaxle DPS, you could switch into Jaheira DPS, or you could use someone else's DPS and support with Jaheira. So I think that's a great timing for new players. Do I only keep the event champions I 100%? No. Once you do that first adventure that unlocks that champion, you own that champion forever. Yeah, there's no temporary ownership of champions in this game. You have it all. You have it forever. How many champions do you get from a time gate? 1 per time gate. How long does the time gate open for? 72 hours. 72 hours. I just started playing Idle Champions. What should I think of in the start? The first thing you want to learn in Idle Champions is how to build formations. At the guides I linked just a moment ago, the very first guide. Let me double check. It should be the very first guide. Yeah, the very first guide that I recommend is Formation Strategy 101, right? So learning how to build a formation, which also means learning how to understand your champions. That's kind of the the real true core foundational knowledge that you need to start working on right away. After that, there's a lot. Don't try to overwhelm yourself. There's a lot to learn in this game. Take it one problem at a time. I kind of answered, if you spend money on anything, what would it be? I kind of answered that one already. Founders Pack. After that, probably Familiars. Should I prioritize buying Familiars or chests with my gems? You should buy the Mage Hand right away. I see people have put GV, the Gems Visual Aid, out there. The rest of my thoughts on how you should spend gems are in there. I worked with Mars on that. I think you buy the Mage Hand right away, and then after that, buy chests. Do you have recommendations for newer players who only have the base epic packs for a hero to unlock during the time gate next week? So here's the thing. I don't, because in a natural time gate, so one that opens up without you spending tokens, it's going to run slot machines, basically. It's going to give you 3 champions. You don't get to pick. You get to pick one of those 3, but every person has a different role. Every person is going to get a different set of 3 options. Well, not every person. I mean, with the amount of people playing, there will be people who have the same options. But I think you know what I mean. It's unique it tries to be unique for each person based off what you already have. And it's always going to try to give you one you don't have, as long as there is one you don't have. It's always going to try to give you one that is from year 1, because you can't get those out of events anymore. So yeah, there's a channel in the Discord called I think it's #TimeGates. Everyone goes there when a time gate opens to ask, like, here are my 3 champions. What should I pick? There is a thread on the Reddit that will open up when the time gate opens up that everyone goes to ask, these are my 3 champions. What should I pick? I will be live with GG2E next Friday, and a lot of questions I get on a time gate weekend is, Gaarawarr, I have these 3 options. What should I pick? So we're going to be able to offer you advice, but not until the time gate opens. Is Orb still worth it, or is it better to go for another DPS? I don't think... I don't know, Gab454, I don't know where you are in the game. I don't think Zorbu is necessary when you first start. In fact, in my new player, when I did the last Mars of War challenge, I played for 3 months, and I didn't even bother trying to get Zorbu. I unlocked all the Evergreen champions, completed Sword Coast, Tomb of Annihilation, Waterdeep, and all of Baldur's Gate, the adventures that were there at the time, not all the variants, using like Hitch and Farida, Jarlaxle, Hitch, and Farida. So I think in the mid game he is still viable. I still use him in game, depending on what I'm trying to do, and who's and what's available. He's still top tier DPS. It's just that Ashara is now strong enough that in some cases, and depending on what champions you own and what items and item levels you have for Ashara, she can top him. So again, it comes in now. We are seeing finally that there are multiple options at the top. It's kind of what it should be, right? Do you have to be using the champions to get that 1%? Oh, I think we're talking about achievements. When you unlock an achievement, that's just, it says right down here, it's bonus EO 4% increase to all champion damage. This is a global buff. How much time we have left? We only have a few minutes left. I've opened lots of gold shaka chests during the event and got the same purple item again and again. Is this your bad luck, or is it because it's the only purple item I have for him? You should only get a duplicate purple if you're full epic. So I question you getting the same purple again. I feel like what you got was a duplicate lower quality, but it also shows the purple. Like, it'll show the item and then it'll show the purple that you have. So I don't know without seeing more information. If you think you truly got the same purple over and over and you had other slots that weren't purple, submit a ticket. Which actually reminds me, here's what I'm going to do. I was going to do this yesterday and I didn't. I'm going to open my gold shaka chests live on stream. So here's how this works. I have a full blue on shaka. So right now I'm just hunting for epics. I burned lots of bounty contracts, so I had 25 chests without having to spend any cash. That's the target I shoot for is 24. Why do I shoot for that target? The first time you encounter a chest, the pity timer is actually 4. So that means the first time you get a new chest, which I hadn't opened gold shaka chest before, I'm guaranteed to get an epic in my first 4, which I just got, Celestial Warlock robes. And then that means now I have 20. Now my pity timer goes to 10, because if you have bad luck, you're guaranteed to get one at 10 after opening 10. So that means I shoot for 24 or more gold chests with my tokens so that I can have at least 3 epics on a champion. Sometimes I get all 6. So there's 1. There's 2. I mean, right away. So I've got super lucky. Because of when it came, I'm still only guaranteed 3. But if I can get another one before the pity timer, then I'll be able to potentially get 4. But as you'll note, that wasn't a duplicate. I got a fresh one. That's how it's supposed to happen. But when I'm getting this as a duplicate, it shows the purple down here. This just means that my highest rarity item in this slot is purple, but I got a blue. And that's what I think maybe you saw, but I don't know. Maybe you did get the same item over and over. That would be a bug. That would be a bug. I'm not watching your game to know. But yeah, they show what your highest level rarity item is down here, small in the bottom, and then they show what you actually got as a big card. We're going to get one here. And a large bounty contract. Awesome. Okay, so I'm at 3. So I got that one just in time. So I should get at least one more epic. And when you're doing this, like I'm seeing those large bounty contracts, it does make me so happy. Keep in mind, getting epic consumables doesn't reset your pity timer. You can see my pity timer incrementing over here. It's only getting that epic item. So while it can be a bit of a tease if you're looking at the glow, like if you're hovering to see the glow, oh, am I getting it? And then you get the consumable. Yeah, this does. I love these. This gives me gear for my next champion, right? Because I'm going to pop those during the next event. So unless I get real lucky here, I'm only going to get 4 epics, and that's fine. I've got lots of time gate tokens, so I can start doing time. There we go. I can start doing time gates for Shaka after this. Oh no, I'm over here. Yeah. So I missed his Celestial Puzzle, which is unfortunate, and his all champs damage. So I'm going to go hunt for those in a time gate, and that's fine because I actually still need one for Humon. So I'll start rotating the 2 of them in time gates and get more. It is time for us to stop. It's been almost 2 hours. It's throwing me off because we started a little late. I appreciate everybody hanging out, even though we weren't entirely on schedule today. ISPs, what do? Thank you to Code Entertainment for being patient today. And Jay for hanging around and doing all the questions. I know we only got through like 53 questions today, and there's 95 in the document. So everybody please head over to the Discord. Did they change the command for this? Nope, there it is. Head over to the Discord. There are plenty of people there in the new player channel willing to help, or in the tavern willing to help. New player questions, generally try to keep those in the new player place. There's also the hashtag formations if you're trying to figure out how far to push your formations. Lots of places over there to get information. And you can hit up, obviously, the Reddit to read guides and ask questions there. People are scouring that all the time. We're going to head out with one final musical piece from Bardic Inspiration. And this is Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate. And I will see everybody Monday for Champions of Lore. I believe that's returning. It was off last week, but streams usually start Monday mornings. Champions of Lore, it's a great way to start your week. I will see everybody there. Bye.
Fill your cups with mead or wine and go top off your ale. Now it's time to gather close to hear this halfling's tale. Battling dragons, skeletons, and riding on a whale. Hunting down the creatures that make other heroes pale. Shot the dragon orb out of a deadly frost giant's hand, freeing all the dragons out from under his command. She's Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shady, the savior of all. She's fleet of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate. Battled 50 demons, then she banished 50 more. Just an arrow from her bow can kill 1,000 orcs. You want this woman on your side whenever you go to war. Her enemies will never know just what she has in store. Like the time she knocked the teeth out of a bugbear's snout, or when she sent 100 soldiers scrambling in a rout. She's Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shady, the savior of all. She is great of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shady, the savior of all. She's fleet of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shady, the hero of Baldur's Gate.